The thing in his pocket had been there for 6 months. 6 months of police examination, a coroner's inquest, public appeals for information, an entire city asking who this man was. And the answer had been rolled into a tube the size of a matchstick, sewn into a hidden pocket in the waistband of his trousers, and missed by every pair of hands that had gone through his clothing. When they finally found it, on the 19th of June, 1949, it was 2 words: Persian, printed on a scrap of paper torn from the last page of a poem about accepting death. Tamám Shud. Finished. The pocket had been sewn with care. The slip had been rolled with precision. Someone had put that paper there deliberately. And the only person alive who might have known why looked at the death mask of the man who carried it, nearly fainted, and then said, "I've never seen him before." Before this story is over, you will see the cipher she helped hide. You will see the face of the man she said she didn't know. And you will understand why the state of South Australia agreed to keep her name secret for 53 years. This is not a story that ends with a culprit. It ends with a woman who took her secret to the grave, and a code no one has been able to read for 75 years. We begin on a beach. Summer, Adelaide, South Australia. The 1st of December, 1948. It is 6:30 in the morning. The surf at Somerton Park is already audible. A Saturday in the Australian summer, warm enough that people walk the seawall. John Bain Lyons, a jeweler, walks with his wife. He stops. A man is slumped against the rough concrete seawall, approximately 20 yards from the water. Dark suit, recently pressed, shoes clean, nails manicured, recently barbered. The kind of attention to grooming that takes effort and intention. Between his fingers, a half-finished cigarette has burned down without being flicked. The ash is still attached. He has not moved as it burned. Officers who arrive shortly after will note that the man appears to have died without disturbance, in a position consistent with someone who sat down and simply did not rise. The plaster death mask Paul Lawson will cast from this man's face within 48 hours is currently held in evidence storage in South Australia. It will preserve the hair at his temples for 73 years. Dr. John Matthew Dwyer performs the post-mortem on the 2nd of December, 1948. The spleen is 3 times its normal size. The liver engorged with blood. The pupils wedge-shaped. The calf muscles are developed to a degree Dwyer describes as consistent with a ballet dancer or a professional cyclist. The man will eventually be identified as an electrical engineer. The body does not match the profession.
Dwyer suspects poisoning, a digitalis compound, or wobane, cardiac glycosides that metabolize rapidly and leave no chemically detectable trace under 1948 forensic conditions. He cannot confirm it. The coroner returns an open finding. Cause of death? Undetermined. The unknown man is buried in January 1949 in a sealed concrete vault at West Terrace Cemetery, Adelaide. No name, no history, no explanation. There is no wallet, no identification. Every label has been removed from his clothing with scissors. Every one, except for 3 items in a suitcase he had checked into Adelaide railway station on the morning he died. A tie stenciled T. Keane, a laundry bag stenciled Keane, a singlet stenciled Keane. The same partial name, spelled 3 different ways, on the only items not stripped. A coat made by an American manufacturer, using a technique not available in Australian clothing at the time. A table knife sharpened into a precision tool. No missing person report, no military file, no criminal record matches a man named Keane to this body. Police issue public appeals. Months pass. Then, on the 19th of June 1949, 6 months after the discovery, officers re-examining the dead man's clothing find what the initial autopsy missed. A detective runs his fingers along the waistband of the dead man's trousers. The seam near the right hip is faintly irregular, stitched more precisely than its surroundings. He works it open. Inside, a pocket the size of a coin. Inside the pocket, a tightly rolled piece of paper, no larger than a cigarette butt, wrapped so tight it fits without a fold. He unrolls it. 2 words, printed text. Tamám Shud. The slip is currently held in evidence by the South Australian Police. It has been photographed, reproduced in forensic literature, and examined for 76 years. Police take the slip to a professor of Oriental languages at the University of Adelaide. Persian. The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The final 2 printed words on the final page of a poem about the inevitability of death. Finished. Done. They issue a public appeal. They are looking for a copy of this book with its last page torn out. In July 1949, a local man contacts police and hands over a copy of the Rubaiyat. A first edition 1941 Whitcomb and Toombs New Zealand printing, the rarest known edition of that translation. He says it was thrown into the back seat of his unlocked car, parked near Somerton Beach, on the evening of the 30th of November 1948, the night the dead man was last seen alive. The final page has been torn out. The typeface matches the slip exactly. The torn edge fits the slip as precisely as a key fits a lock. Inside the back cover, a telephone number in pencil. And pressed into the cardboard, not written, but pressed from a separate sheet of paper that was then removed, 5 lines of capital letters.
5 lines. 63 capital letters. A code pressed into cardboard that no one in 76 years has been able to read. The second line is struck through, as if corrected or abandoned. The remaining 63 characters have been examined by Australian Naval Intelligence, the FBI, and Professor Derek Abbott across 15 years of algorithmic analysis. No confirmed plaintext has ever been produced. The cipher is officially unsolved. Police trace the telephone number, exchange X3239, Glenelg, Adelaide. It belongs to a 27-year-old former Army nurse. Her name is Jessica Thomson. She lives at 90A Mosley Street, Glenelg, 400 meters from where the body was found. The story has been about an object. From this moment, it is about a woman. Detective Sergeant Lionel Lean travels to Mosley Street on the 20th of July, 1949. He carries the plastered death mask cast from the unknown man's face. Thomson opens the door. Lean holds up the cast. The dead man's face preserved in white, eyes closed, hair at the temples faintly visible above the plaster surface. Thomson looks at it. Her face changes. Detective Lean, Official Field Notes, July 20th, 1949. Completely taken aback to the point of giving the appearance of being about to faint. She recovers. She says she does not know this man. She has never seen him before. Then she asks Detective Lean to keep her name out of the newspapers. Lean agrees. The mask Lean holds in that doorway is currently in evidence storage in South Australia. The hair above its temples will, 73 years later, give the dead man his name. Read that sequence again. A woman is shown the death mask of a man found dead 400 meters from her front door, with her handwritten phone number beside a cipher in his book.
Her body responds before her words can. And the lead investigator in Australia's most anomalous, unidentified death agrees to remove her from the public record. Thomson's identity is withheld from all official press statements for the next 53 years. Not by accident, by documented agreement. Lean's notes record the request. Jerry Feltus, the retired SA police detective who published the case's most rigorous account in 2010, confirmed the arrangement from direct archive access. Thomson's name is absent from every official statement issued between 1949 and 2002. A woman asked the state to protect her silence. The state agreed. The question that follows: why was her connection to this dead man something worth protecting her from?
Thomson is 27.
She has a son, Robin Thomson, born July 1947, father not named in any record. Professor Abbott's published research documents that Carl Webb and Robin Thomson share two rare anatomical features: congenital absence of the lateral incisors and an unusual ear configuration found in fewer than 1% of the population. The combined probability of both traits appearing in two unrelated individuals, approximately 1 in 10 to 20 million. Essentially, both men were born missing the same specific teeth, a biological glitch so rare it functions like a family crest written in bone. In 2023, a proposal to exhume Robin Thomson, who died in 2009, for biological confirmation was refused by the family. The anatomical record is what it is. The family's decision is what it is. One further note. Thomson had previously given a copy of the same 1941 Whitcomb and Tombs Rubaiyat, inscribed in her own hand, to a Lieutenant Alf Boxall. When police located Boxall, he was alive, and he still had his copy. The Somerton Man was not Boxall. What remained was the question of how Thomson came to have a second copy of the same rare edition, and how it ended up in an unlocked car near the beach on the night of the death. She never answered this question. Not once for the rest of her life. But there was a reason Jessica Thomson needed the state to protect her. A reason that wasn't just about a secret romance. It was about a message that was designed to disappear. The cipher was not written into the back cover. It was pressed, a separate sheet held against the cardboard, leaving its ghost, then removed. What survives is the mark of something that no longer exists. In the intelligence methodology of the late 1940s, this is consistent with a one-time pad protocol. Press the encoded text onto a surface, transmit the impression, destroy the original. The key is held by the intended recipient. Destroy it after use, and the message becomes permanently unreadable. If the cipher was encoded this way, the key was held by the person it was written for. The key holder died in 2007. Thomson told her daughter Kate two things at some point in the final years of her life. Jessica Thomson, reported by Kate Thomson. "I knew who he was, but I wasn't going to tell anyone." Jessica Thomson, reported by Kate Thomson. "The matter is known at a level higher than the police." We have these sentences. We do not have their architecture. Whether Thomson meant federal intelligence, personal knowledge she considered beyond the jurisdiction of a detective sergeant, or something constructed entirely within her own private understanding, remains inference. What is confirmed? The most important witness in this case asked for institutional protection in 1949, received it, and held her silence for 58 years. Stuart Littlemore, a journalist, identified her publicly in 2002. She was 81 years old. She still refused to acknowledge knowing the dead man. Thomson died in 2007. She carried the key with her. Whether the cipher was a message written for her, an intelligence protocol she was party to, or something else entirely, the record does not say. The most disturbing fact in this case is not the cipher. It is that a woman knew the dead man's name. watched the world search for it for 53 years, and the police helped her stay silent. But while the state helped her hide his name, they couldn't hide his DNA. 73 years later, that plaster mask would finally speak. The sealed concrete vault at West Terrace Cemetery is opened in 2021. Inside, the plastered death mask made by Paul Lawson in December 1948 has survived 73 years intact. The hair at the dead man's temples, pressed into the plaster at the moment of casting, is still viable. Professor Derek Abbott oversees the DNA extraction. A name surfaces from the genealogical database. The mask was made as routine administrative procedure in 1948. No one knew they were preserving, in plaster, the only means by which this man could ever be identified. The mask is currently held in evidence storage in South Australia. A funeral director pressed plaster to the face of an unknown man. That routine act, never intended as evidence, never intended as anything more than administrative record, became the only reason Carl Webb has a name today. Carl Charles Webb, born the 16th of November, 1905, Footscray, Melbourne, Victoria. Electrical engineer and instrument maker. Professor Abbott and forensic genealogist Colleen Fitzpatrick announced the identification on the 26th of July, 2022, describing the evidence as conclusive within the methodology used. The South Australian police did not confirm it. They did not dispute it. Webb had left a wife in Melbourne, Dorothy Jean Robertson, approximately 18 months before his death. She filed for divorce in 1951 on grounds of desertion. She was never officially told that her husband had died on a beach in Adelaide. Whether he traveled north to find Jessica Thomson, or to flee Dorothy, or for a reason no one alive can name, the 2022 announcement did not address it. Here is what the identification answered: his name. Here is what it did not answer. Why was Webb in Adelaide? Why did he have Thomson's phone number? What does the cipher say? How did he die? No ticket stub, no booking record, no letter or phone call places Webb on a route from Melbourne to Adelaide. No document connects an electrical engineer from Footscray to an army nurse from Glenelg, except one unlisted telephone number in a book and the near faint of a woman shown his death mask. The cipher has not been decoded in 76 years. The cause of death cannot be re-examined. The compounds Dwyer suspected metabolize beyond any trace in tissue this old. These 4 questions were unanswered in 1948. They remain unanswered today. Carl Webb has his name. He has nothing else. Edward Fitzgerald's translation of the Rubaiyat closes with a Persian custom. When a guest at a feast has died, you turn their glass upside down. You mark the empty space. You acknowledge the absence rather than pretending the seat is still full. The final stanza. And when thyself with shining foot shall pass among the guests star-scattered on the grass, and in thy joyous errand reach the spot where I made one, turn down an empty glass. Tamám Shud. Carl Webb's body against the seawall at Somerton Park was the empty glass at the table. His place. The space where he had been. Jessica Thomson lived 400 meters from that seawall for the rest of her life. Through every headline, every press conference, every public appeal, she never turned down the glass. The cipher remains, still unread. Turn down an empty glass. If stories like this belong in your week, the bell is there for that reason.